Good day my little robins, it's me Beth. Another week has passed, we're going to get another video from, well, me. And today, if you haven't already read the title, I'm going to be sharing with you guys some of my CD collection. That is right. I come from that era that, still goes out and, buys physical copies of, CDs by, my favourite bands. And now, I know what you're thinking, but nowadays, you can just stream music for free, you can buy it on iTunes. But I just love owning, like, a physical copy of the album. Oh, there's just something about going into, like, music shops such as HMV, and, just, like, scrolling through the music and, seeing the new albums that bands release. It was always a favourite activity of mine to do. When I had my pocket money when I was younger, I would save it up and we would go to HMV and I would buy an album. I would buy a single album and it would cost me like 3 weeks worth of pocket money. But that didn't, bother me because I got to listen to it non-stop. Now what I'm going to show you today is, it's only a handful of my CDs because I'm currently, in Liverpool. I do have more CDs back home, but these are just the ones that I've accumulated in the last year and a bit. Hopefully it will share with you guys, some of my music taste. I'm going to show some of my favourites, some of my meh, but I still bought them because maybe I liked the cover art. Before, we dive right into the CD collection video, if you want to support me and the channel, click like, hit subscribe because I upload twice a week on a Monday and a Friday. But let's just dive right in to this CD collection. The first CD I'm going to show is In This Moment, and it is the Ritual album. It is the most recent album from, In This Moment, and I've only not long been a fan of the band. Only really the last 3 years have I actually, been turned onto the music. It was actually through a friend of mine who, really bummed off this band and was like, you should give them a chance, you like strong female vocalists. I just love, the album. The pictures on the inside, the booklet. There's just something so satisfying, about having an album or vinyl on your shelf. I love it. Moving on. Probably my most anticipated release of 2017, and that was Arch Enemy's Will to Power album. I am obsessed, with, this cover art. I'm obsessed with Arch Enemy. When I bought this in HMV, the guy behind the counter was like, that would be an awesome tattoo. And I was like, it would be. It'd be painful and very expensive. Again, you've got the artwork. I got the one that came with stickers because who doesn't like stickers? Again, booklet. I just love it. And then you've got, the band on the back. I love albums. I was raised on albums. Whenever, we would go anywhere, mainly with myself and my dad, and we would go shopping for the weekend, we would always play an album because I lived in the middle of nowhere, and it would always take us between like 40 to 50 minutes to get to a place, which, most days is the length of a full studio album. So we would always listen to an album in full on the way there, and then we'd listen to a new album on the way back in full. And it was just the way I was raised. I was raised to like every single song on an album, start to finish. Next album, again, is In This Moment, and it is the 10th anniversary, best collection, pretty much their greatest songs, which I was told to actually buy if I was getting into the band, and I'm so happy I did. Yes! Music. Oh, music. I love music. Next up is Architects with the All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us album. I've actually got, the shirt somewhere in my band merch that has the All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us on it. I love it. I never got to see them on this tour and it really upset me. They're on my bucket list. Architects are on my bucket list of bands to see. Next up we have the new album from Enter Shikari. Dun dun dun. Yeah. Enter Shikari. I love them. I'm not a big fan of this new album, but I'm a fan of the old Enter Shikari and I kind of liked the album artwork, its simplicity. You know, it's simple on the back with the song titles, and I'm actually seeing them live in November with my flatmate in Liverpool, and I couldn't be more excited. The more I listen to the album, the more it grows on me. You're probably thinking, if you don't like the singles that have been released, why did you buy the album? I like supporting my favourite bands, and I like buying the albums because, you know, it shows that, okay, you actually do like the band, you're supporting the band, and albums tend to grow on me, so hopefully that one does. Moving on, we have Vulnerable by The Used. Now, I was a massive fan of The Used back in my high school days. This was released, well, 2013 it says, and I have no qualms with that because I would have been in my second year of university. But The Used, for me, have always been like a unique band, you know, with the songs they released. You know, they're powerful, they have strong meaning behind it. This was a double disc, which I liked. And the disc 2 had some extra songs as well as remixes and acoustic versions. The Used changed their sound, they changed their appearance. But I'm still supporting them because I am a fan. And that's what we do, apparently. Next up, we have Feathers and Flesh, in his own words, the 2 CD album by Avatar. That is right. For those of you who don't know, I've done a couple of videos where I've mentioned Avatar. They are an underrated, like, metal band. They're not English. Nope. They come from Europe. No surprise there. But they produce some of the best music videos I've ever seen. For example, you know, this is 2 CDs, and there are 31 songs on this album, but what I like is about 15 of those songs are the core songs, you know, from the album, but on this double deluxe version, it's kind of in his own words. It's like an audiobook. It's telling a story. So in between the songs, you know, you'll have spoken bits by the vocalist, and it tells a story, start, middle, end, and it is just a beautiful album, you know, to listen to. You can get the album just with, you know, the main songs on, but I just love putting this on and playing it start to finish. It's like an audiobook. It's like an audiobook, but amplified. Avatar, check them out. Next up, I can never pronounce this band, and it is a Monomarth. Jom's Viking. I don't pronounce European names that well. There we go, there's the album. I bought this because I love the band and it had really good artwork. They know how to, you know, release an album, and there's just something so beautiful about it. Yeah, a Monomarth, check them out. They're a band I want to see live at some point. Moving on, this was a risk buy, and it is Exa Eden, Rhapsodies in Black. Now, pretty much this band of beautiful ladies, as you can see from, you know, the back of the album when the light works. I picked this up because I'd heard their, you know, cover of Rihanna's Unfaithful. Little did I know that this is their debut album, and they've literally just, it's a cover album. They've taken mainstream, you know, pop songs and, you know, rock songs, and they've given it, you know, their own unique twist, because the majority of these songs are sung in quite like an ethereal, operatic voice. You know, every single, like, lady in this band brings something different, like a different tone, a different sense, and to some degree it makes some of the cover songs sound a lot better than the originals, which is a very rare thing. This was a recommendation, and I always recommend it to people if they want to hear good covers. My favourite cover, apart from Unfaithful, has to be Total Eclipse of the Heart and Paparazzi. They take it and they change it. It's unique. Yeah. Next up, we have Sky Dancer by In Heart's Wake, who I actually saw on tour, you know, this month. I know, I saw In Heart's Wake. Look, I am wearing, you know, the merch from their tour. In Heart's Wake, Nomad, off their new album Arc, which is somewhere in this pile of CDs in front of me. In Heart's Wake, I stumbled upon, again, I fell in love with the artwork. And it was actually recommended to me by one of the staff in HMV when I was going through the music, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a go. I've now seen them live twice, and they get better each time you see them. The next one is like a compilation album, and it is the Kerrang! Headliners album. That's right, there's 2 CDs. There are 40 songs, so there's 20 songs on each. You know, you have Biffy Clyro, My Chemical Romance, you know, Slipknot, Marilyn Manson, Fall Out Boy. Pretty much every single song on this album, if you've ever watched, you know, the Kerrang! Music channel on TV, it's pretty much the songs they constantly play on repeat. But here, I actually listen to this in the car a lot, because if you're going on a trip, you know, and I've got friends who like these bands, so it's like something for everyone. Moving on. Oh look, it's Ark by In Heart's Wake. Yeah, Nomad is one of the songs on the album, and it's the merch I'm wearing, and it's got some lyrics on the back of the shirt. This came out this year. The tour we saw was, you know, for this album, and oh my god, they've improved so much from when I saw them when they toured earlier in 2017 with While She Sleeps in Liverpool. See, I went to see them on tour because I saw them when they opened for While She Sleeps with a friend, and my friend fell in love with the band and said, oh my god, they can put on a show, and they didn't fail when we saw them live. Every single song on Ark, you know, is different, and it is a band, you know, it's got dual vocalists, it's got, you know, the unclean vocalist and then the clean vocalist. This band have the right balance. Check out In Heart's Wake. Moving on to my next pile, we have Dark Manners by The Rasmus. That's right. The Rasmus are back. They haven't released a studio album since 2012. So when they announced that they were releasing a new album in 2017, I was like, oh my god, my 2003 fangirl can't take this. The first song I ever heard was 2003's hit In the Shadows, but I've been a fan of the band. I've bought every single album. I am actually seeing them on tour next October in 2018 in promotion for the Dark Matters album. The Rasmus are back. I love this, you know, with the upside down door on fire, and you've got Laurie walking towards it. The Rasmus, they're a band that, you know, get better with age. In the age where you see bands breaking up, for example, Him, who are one of my favourite bands, they're doing a farewell tour this December because they're breaking up after like over 20 years of being a band. The Rasmus never split up into 2012. They just wanted, you know, to experiment with their own projects, but they're back. And someone's got murdered outside my flat, hence the siren. Moving on, we have While She Sleeps. This is their debut album. Oh, I just love the W and like the 2 S's like interlocking. Again, I saw them live for the first time this year in Liverpool, and oh my god, they killed it. For a band, every single song they've released has been good. Every album is well written. The songs are amazing. The videos, you know, kind of political. They're a kind of a political band if you watch their videos. But also I do have 2 more of their albums in this pile, so moving on. We have Dear Desolation by Thy Art Is Murder, who again I saw. I've always wanted to see Thy Art Is Murder live, and I got to see them in Manchester Academy earlier this year. Was it October? It was. It was Friday the 6th of October 2017. I got to see them live. Again, like I said, While She Sleeps, if they're a political band, Thy Art Is Murder, just watch some of their music videos and you will see that there's a lot of religion and politics being, you know, talked about. Also, it's quite good because it's quite angsty. Well, I say angsty, if you're not into like bands, you know, that scream and growl or have unclean vocals, this might not be the band for you, but my favourite song probably is Puppet Master. I've reviewed the music video on this channel if you want to go check it out. Product placement. Moving on. We have the anticipated sophomore album by Paris, which is All We Know of Heaven, All We Need of Hell. I pre-ordered this because I could not wait. I was a huge fan of the White Noise album, which was their debut album, and it took them a few years, you know, to release a second album, but every song on this is a gem. I believe I've actually reviewed Heaven, Anyone Else, and What's Wrong, and I've at least talked about half of the songs on this album on the channel, so you can literally just type in Paris into the search box if you want to see my opinion. I love this band with a burning passion. Unfortunately, I can't see them when they tour in November because they tour in Manchester and it's a day I'm in work and I wouldn't be able to make it, so I'm very upset. Again, they're a band on my bucket list. My favourite song probably on the album is What's Wrong. That music video, like shook me. I was shook. Paris, amazing. We're moving on to Creeper. Creeper. I love this album so much. And it's the Eternity in Your Arms album. You've got the band inside the CD, the songs on the back. If you want a band that can tell a story through music videos, I highly recommend this album because the songs that they released as videos, they told a story start to finish and they actually put so much effort into the campaign. I have seen Creeper live and some of these songs sound a little better live than they do on the album. For example, I think Black Rain sounds amazing live. I like the album version, but I like some songs better live. Creeper are a must listen to. Next up we have Motionless in White's new album, Graveyard Shift. I am actually, you know, seeing Motionless in White on tour at the end of January 2018 with my friends because it's a band I've wanted to see live for years. Now, Graveyard Shift I was 50-50 on when I bought it. I had to be prompted to buy it again by a different staff member in HMV. I picked it up, I put it down. I picked it up, I put it down. I picked it up, I put it down. And I think the fourth time I was looking at it, he was just like, buy it. You don't know if you're not going to like it until you buy it. And so I bought it. Thank you, HMV guy, whose name I can't remember. Next up we have Let Us Burn, which is the Elements and Hydra live in concert tour by Within Temptation. It's a double disc. And for those of you who don't know, I am a really big fan of symphonic metal. You wouldn't look at me and think symphonic metal, but I like this because again, I love when bands perform live. And they were two entirely different set lists for each show on this. They had a couple of overlapping songs, but primarily different set lists for each. And Within Temptation are a band I do want to see live, along with Nightwish, who I've actually got an album or two of in this pile. Moving on, we have Battles by In Flames. I love this artwork, the skull, the hands like morphing into it. In Flames, again, is a band I've only recently got into, and when I say recently, I'd say I got into the band 4 years ago, so again, recent. I missed out when they toured in the UK, and I'm very upset, but who knows, I might get to see them again. My favourite song is Drained, but my second favourite song is In My Room. They can sell you a song, they can write lyrics, they're beautiful, what can I say? If you want something different, I highly recommend In Flames. As you can tell, I haven't got a lot of, you know, pop, radio-friendly albums. That's a whole different story on my iTunes, but we all had different music tastes. Up next we have You Are We, which is by While She Sleeps again, who I saw on tour in promotion of this. They actually released this album independently. I'm not going to go into depth on this album because I've actually reviewed it in its entirety on my channel, so you can just type in While She Sleeps into the search box on my channel and check out my review. I love the artwork with the smoke and the hand. I bought so much of their merch because I feel like when a band goes independent, you know, they do things without a record label behind them. You know, they rely on fans. This is an entirely fan-funded album, and so when they released their own merch line, I was like, I need to support my boys. And also because of them, my friend got to see In Heart's Wake for the first time, so double tick. Next up we have War Eternal by Arch Enemy. Will to Power is their most recent album. War Eternal was the album before that, and it is the first album that featured the new vocalist Alyssa from the band The Agonist, which I loved. And for me, War Eternal is a really strong album. Alyssa can do clean and unclean vocals, but in Arch Enemy she focuses more on, you know, unclean and growls. I love it. My favourite song, I'd probably say, is As the Pages Burn. The lyrics, with some of these bands, you may think like, oh, they're shouting at me, you know, they're screaming. But if you actually, you know, go online and look up the lyrics for some of the songs, and you actually read through the lyrics, you'll be like, okay, these are actually really deep, meaningful songs. But you know, they're just shouting it at you. So I highly recommend, before you judge any bands, actually go and read some of the lyrics. As the Pages Burn, I love the music video, I love the meaning behind the song about rewriting our own history, burning the pages of the past and, well, rewriting our history. Up next we have Stone Sour Audio Secrecy. Okay, I do own quite a few of the Stone Sour albums, but I actually didn't own this one, so I went out and bought it. Stone Sour. Corey Taylor. Slipknot. Moving on. I like Stone Sour. I regret that I can't see them live. I think this year they're touring with the Pretty Reckless, and I am heartbroken because I'm in work. The life of someone in their 20s. I work, I have bills to pay, but I still have enough money and time to go out and buy albums and see my favourite bands on tour. Up next we have another album by Viarte's Murder, and yeah, it's called Hate. I love the artwork. It's like an apocalyptic future. It's angry. If Dear Desolation is angry, the fact that they called the album Hate should, you know, lead you into, you know, the same direction. My favourite songs, if I had to pick one, I'm looking at the back, would be The Purest Strain of Hate. And when they performed that song live, you know, recently on the 6th of October, the crowd went mental. There was mosh pits, there was pushing, there was punching. They can get a crowd going with their songs. Oh look, talking about Stone Sour, we have their most recent album, Hydrograd. Yes, I think I took a picture of my Instagram and said I love this album, so yeah. Ah, Stone Sour. I really want Slipknot to, you know, release more music, but I guess while, you know, Corey Taylor's doing his solo side project, we might not get any more Slipknot music, but I highly recommend Stone Sour because it's a different side of Corey, you know. In Slipknot, you know, we're so used to the mask and like the unclean vocals, but Corey, he's an alright looking man without a mask, and he can sing like an angel when he wants to. Yeah, surprise, surprise. Moving on, we have Slipknot. That wasn't planned, and we have Point 5, The Grey Chapter, which is probably one of my favourite Slipknot albums to date, and I've got an itch on my back. This was in memory of Paul Gray, who tragically, you know, died, and this is the last album that Slipknot have released, and this was back in 2014. Hopefully we get some new music before 2020, but this album, you know, is like a labour of love. Every song on it, you know, you can feel the raw emotion behind Corey's singing. You know, all the band members were affected by Paul's death. He was like a founding member of Slipknot. My favourite song is Kill Pop. I love that music video. You should go check it out. Point 5, The Grey Chapter. If bands are going to do like a memorial album or like a We're Going to Remember Our Friend. This should be the blueprint for other bands to do something similar. Oh look, Arch Enemy, As the Stage Burns, which is their double disc. Aww. Because like I said, I love listening to some songs live, and this is a DVD from when they did their headline set at Wacken Music Festival. You know, so all the songs are live, Alyssa kills it, and I can't wait to see them next year in Manchester. I highly recommend live albums. I never used to like them, but this album actually turned me on to live albums. Moving on, we have I Prevail, or Prevail I, by Cobra and the Lotus. I am seeing this band in November in Manchester. I saw them when they toured with Delane last November, and I fell in love. Again, if you want a really strong female vocalist, I highly recommend Cobra and the Lotus, because Cobra, her voice does things to me. It does some odd things to me. Every single song on this is a gem. My two favourites are Gotham and Trigger Pulse. Go watch the videos online. I also love the artwork. That would be an amazing tattoo. Some of these would be amazing, you know, tattoos. We have next Nightwish, Endless Forms Most Beautiful, which was their most recent album release. It's got a shiny cover. It's got pictures of the band. It's got a booklet with pictures and all the song lyrics in, and it was a double disc because disc 1 had all the album songs, and then disc 2 was the instrumental version of all the songs off, you know, the CD 1. Nightwish for me are my go-to band when I'm writing, especially the instrumental versions of some of their songs, because if I play their songs I sing along to the lyrics. But just playing the instrumentals, this band, you can tell why they've survived as long as they have. Floor is an amazing vocalist. Nightwish, check them out. I do have other albums, but I haven't bought them. I've downloaded them on iTunes, so yes. And the final album is Brainwashed by While She Sleeps, which was their second album. They've only released 3 albums to date, so I actually own all 3. Brainwash for me though is a solid album. I liked This Is the Six, but I was like, oh, how are they going to top it? And then they brought out Brainwashed, and again, my favourite song probably on this album is Brainwashed. It's a very good song. It must be good, you know, if you're going to name the album that, but you can probably tell, again, kind of political. If you can look aside the political messages, you know, that some of these bands put across, you will find some amazing bands to fall in love with. Yeah, that was just, this is probably going to be a part 1 of my CD collection because I have so many back home with my parents. Oh, I'm so happy. Music makes the world go round and it brings us all together. That just ends the video. In the comments below, I would love to, to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on some of the albums I showed. I would love to hear what some of your favourite albums or bands are in the comments, and I'll be sure to check them out, in future videos. While you're down there, you can check out all the links to my social media. You can press that like button if you want to show me some love. You can click my face right here to subscribe to the channel. Check out my last 2 videos or playlists right here. And oh look, I've only just realised my calendar's in that thing again where it's moved back to September. My calendar cannot live with the fact that it's October. Anyway, I am Beth until next week. Keep listening to great music. Goodbye.